All right, this is going to be just a quick video. I was going to put this into the video when we showed you that the two Freightliner trucks here, but I thought it was just getting a little too long. So we haven't shown much of the Roxor in any of the videos here. I just haven't had time to really talk about it or anything like that. And we got some rain here and I got a little time tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this for a second. And then we're going to show you our makeshift spring that my father and my brother put together so we can get a little more water into the cows here. We added another water source. So we're going to go down and look at that. Now, over the winter, I ended up putting a cab kit on this. This is just a soft top enclosure. It's got soft doors that go on it. And if you go back, I'll put a link in the description to the video when we put this cab kit on here. I ended up buying a windshield for it towards the end of last summer, and then I bought this cab kit which had doors. It has the plastic windows that you can of course remove, because I've got everything removed off of it here now. It was just starting to get too hot to really be able to ride in it. So we're gonna go ahead and run down and look at that spring, go for a little ride in this. I'm gonna be chauffeured by the junior guy there. Back when I first bought this, he couldn't reach the clutch, so I ended up putting a clutch pedal extension on there that kind of just folds up out of the way. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in here and go for a little ride. The driver has to have his seatbelt on or this thing doesn't go over 5 miles an hour.
Just about get the clutch on.
You can almost get it. He's almost big enough this year to get that without the clutch pedal extension. That's just bolted to the metal pedal there. It works pretty good. My brother's got one of these too. I probably should have made one for him. Right here, park right here. Alright, shut her off. Shut it off. Alright, this here is where my father and my brother came down and they dug a spring. And we have a few springs on the farm. And what they did here is they dug a hole, they found water, they dug a deep hole in the ground, put this, I believe this pipe here is 24 inches in diameter, maybe it's a 20-inch pipe. But what they did, we ended up cutting holes in this pipe, and then these stones are not big enough to fit through this hole. So they dug this whole area out. You can kind of see the stone. It's probably 10 or 12 foot in diameter here. They dug this right out, put a little bit of stone in the bottom, and then they set this pipe in there. They held the pipe in place, and then they dumped these are number 3 stones in there, and then this is where the water table is right here. Now My brother came down here the other day. He pumped the water out of this pipe. What the water is doing is it's filtering through the stones, and then it's coming inside this pipe here. Now, we have a couple of springs that are a half a mile or so from the farm that are quite a bit larger in diameter than what this pipe here is. And the idea of it is the water filters through the stone, comes in through these holes, and then you have somewhat of a container here to suck the water out of. My brother dropped this water down to where he couldn't get any more water out, and it filled back up, and it's running greater than 20 gallons a minute. That's just with this 24-inch size pipe here. If we had like a 4-foot diameter pipe, we could do the same thing. We'll end up cutting this off, setting a pump down in there, digging a line up to the farm, and having it dump into the storage tanks that we have outside the barn. We have a couple of 10,000 gallon tanks that we let the pumps fill slowly throughout the day, and then when we have a heavy demand for water, we can suck out of them 10,000 gallon tanks, and then we're not starving a spring like this. Now, we are supposed to wash the pipeline with well water. We have a couple, 3 or 4 wells on the farm. We use these springs just for drinking water, and this water tastes better than the well water. This water is just like spring water that you buy. It's a different taste than well water. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back on the Roxor here. And this is the remnants of this pipe. It's only down in the ground about 8 or 9 feet, and they ended up, you know, setting it down in there, and then they cut it off at that level there. Again, if you had a larger size pipe, we could probably get 80 or 90 gallons a minute out of this water source right here. This just naturally runs up out of the ground, and the spring that we have down near Collins Road, that spring has supplied us for water for years, and we have a 4-inch line that comes up over the hill from that lower spring, and that's how much water we have down the road there. So let's go ahead and go for a ride here, bud. That was one of the spots they looked for water down there too. They dug a couple of test holes, and they felt that other spot was the better spot to put that pipe in, and they were lucky to hit that the first time there. Our big bunk is right there, and we are on the east side of the farm right now. These are nice trails down through here, huh?
You just said that new slide.
My brother has a shooting range set up over there. He shoots from this gazebo right here. He's all ready for doomsday. This used to be an old part of the pasture here. My father graded off this hill, and this is the first we've had a crop in here. So this was the last bit of corn I planted. It came way up into these pasture hills right here, and I'm actually surprised to see corn growing there. It looks like we've got a little weed pressure down there that we're gonna have to pay attention to. This was just sprayed here 2 days ago. You could see Auburn Ag's sprayer tracks right there. And right now we are on the west side of the lagoon here. This is a retention pond that collects all the water from the runoff from the barn roofs and whatever. That all runs one way down into that retention pond there. And then we've got a couple of overflow ponds for when that overflows. That can come over into this one here, and then it can go over into that area where you can see all the poles on top of them cement blocks. Let's go over and look at the bunk. As long as we're out and about, we'll show you the bunk, kind of explain what's going on there. Now the new bunk. We'll show you the new bunk that we're having built, and then when we leave, we'll drive up over the pile of first cut and haylage here. All right, this is good right here. Well, as long as we're out and about here tonight, the sun's going to be going down here in a minute. We thought we'd show you the bunk addition that we're doing. Now, this bunk here was built in 2018. This one here was built in 2019. And then this one over here is going to be built this year, which is 2021. These bunks are like 70 feet wide, and they're 250 feet deep. I forget how long they are. We used to park just machinery down here. Now, 30 years ago, all this was right here is a pasture, and this landscape has been changed quite a bit throughout the last 25 years here. So right alongside this bunk, all it was dirt piled up against the wall there, because this was dug into the ground so that the top of the bunk would be right at the level of the driveway up top. And then we knew how much room we had from where that bunk starts on the other side, where the driveway comes down into the lagoon, over to where this driveway is right here. We had just enough room to put 3 bunks in based upon the width that they are. They dug all this dirt out. They put plastic on the hill here because they did not know what kind of rain we were going to be getting, and they didn't want this whole hill to wash down into the work area here. They ended up pouring the footer here. I believe they did it the beginning of last week. This footer is like 18 inches deep, and it is, what is that, maybe 8 feet? 8 feet wide there. They've got all their rebars in there for the wall, and then they'll come, and their next step is to build the vertical rebars, zip tied, wire tied to those ones there, and then they'll get their forms up all the way around down this sidewall here, and then along the back, and then they'll have a concrete pump truck come in and pump the concrete into the wall. And then once they get the wall done, the following day they'll come in, take all their forms down, and then they'll pour the floor. Once they get the floor done, let this wall set for a few days, then they can bring dirt back in and fill this in against this wall here, and then put a small driveway around the top here. I think we've got enough room. We've got to kind of shoot that width there. We'd like to bring a driveway in right down about where that John Deere truck is and come down through, well, I call it a John Deere truck. It's a Ford truck painted John Deere green. But they'll fill this all back in, and then this wall is going to stick up about a foot right there, and then we can fill from the back. And we'll show you that when we drive up out of here. We're going to drive up over that pile of first cutting that we have in here, because we've got that high enough in the back where half of the trucks have been dumping up on top, and the guys that are pushing, they push down over from the top, and it's a little less work on the tractor. So we're going to go ahead and drive up this pile here, aren't we, Bub?
Yep.
That pile that's in that bunk there is first cut and left over from last year that we're still feeding. So we had just enough feed. We're going to be able to have enough feed until this pile here gets covered and cooked out here. So we got about 15 feet left in that bunk there, so that's going to last here about another 3 weeks to a month. And what we have left to do here is we have eventually what we're going to do once this bunk over here is done is pour concrete from this pad that we're on over on top of the wall that's there. Last year we had BMR silage in that bunk there. We fed that off first. Then we're going to put corn silage in these two bunks here. This is what this looks like from the top side here.